welcome to another episode of Leadership Unpacked. My name is Chris and I'm your host. And today with me I have leadership expert Joshwin Raju. And today is a pretty interesting day. We're actually going to unpack, or rather dissect, the rise and fall of RadioShack, one of America's most beloved electronic stores. So Joshwin, thank you for being with us. Thank you for making the time to talk to us about RadioShack.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So let's start with that. Like, what was RadioShack all about?
Yeah. So RadioShack was basically a beloved electronic store, which had like about thousands of stores all over the U.S. And they were known for, they were loved by hobbyists and like students all over the country for their like availability of a wide variety of electronics and accessories and parts, where people could go in and just get advice on things, repair different kinds of tech and electronics, find all kinds of accessories for tech.
That's
so
awesome.
That's basically the gist of RadioShack.
Wow, I wish I could go to RadioShack right now.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening? Well, you said 1,000-something stores, right? So seems to be pretty successful.
Yeah.
I don't see any anymore. What happened?
Yeah. So basically, what they did was there are a couple of leadership challenges that they faced and flaws in leadership that basically led them to shut down and actually file for bankruptcy in 2015. So
from 1,000 stores to bankruptcy.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And so basically what happened was, for a lot of people, this was more than just, a store. It was a place where they could go, get advice on different tech and get expert opinions and advice and have electronic devices and accessories repaired.
Yeah.
But, different things led to where they couldn't survive in the country.
So Joshua, you spoke about adapting, right? So this is a time when Walmart, Best Buy, they're coming in, right? So where was leadership in all of this? Like, where did that structure break down?
Their leadership basically failed to encourage their employees and motivate them to focus on their long-term goals, and instead they decided to focus on a short-term niche, which was cell phone plans and cell phones and wireless plans.
Oh, okay.
And so what transformational leadership really does is it motivates employees, it encourages innovation, and it helps the organization to adapt to change, especially change that prepares them and puts them in a better place in the long run. And so it gets them to think outside the box of like the short term and see the bigger picture. And so one of my favorite quotes from Bernard Bass in his article From Transactional to Transformational Leadership, he talks about, he sort of defines transformational leadership as the ability to motivate people and to share a meaningful vision, and to encourage them to think beyond their short-term goals, beyond
makes sense.
Think long-term.
Yeah.
And so I think this is one of the biggest leadership flaws that led them to ultimately shut down all of their stores.
Yeah. And so the employees themselves were not motivated to continue with that.
That's definitely one of the reasons, and the leadership failed to do that.
Yeah. Do you think the employees could have noticed that the company was going in the wrong direction?
Yeah. They definitely, I'm pretty sure they did, but they were probably helpless.
There was no structure in place.
Exactly. And their leadership failed to adapt, and hence ultimately, obviously, the brand itself failed to adapt.
Right, so that's adaptive leadership with them, right? And transformational leadership, both of which were missing. Right. And so what could have been done differently?
Number one, they could have definitely their leadership could have set them up better to focus on their specialization that they already had with, expert technological advice and availability of like electronics and accessories and parts, rather than like focusing in on a niche that could definitely did provide revenue in the short term, but it didn't set them up at all in the right place for the long term.
Yeah. So it could have been basically Best Buy but better.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's where Best Buy, places like Best Buy and Walmart, and online places like Amazon swooped in and basically provided a lot more options and variety for a much lower price. Another one of my favorite authors here, David Treese, talks about dynamic capability in his article, Dynamic Capabilities and Strategic Management, where he basically says that a company's ability to adapt to change, especially in a fast-changing environment,
like technology.
Exactly, like technology, reflects their ability to survive in the long run, especially. And so I think that's one of the biggest things they failed to do here is adapt to change. And even when they probably did see it coming, they failed to adapt. Instead, they focused on the wrong thing, and ultimately that led to their bankruptcy. Yeah.
If you were the leader of RadioShack, what would you do differently?
I would have definitely communicated better with my employees and with my company itself. And encouraged them and showed them the big picture in the first place, right? Take them out of that box of like the short term, but also help them focus in on, okay, we need to do this to survive in the long term. This might give us the numbers in the short term, but in the long term, if we're to survive, we need to adapt to these changes and focus on broader category of electronics.
Well, Joshwin, that's honestly very informative session we had, and I love that you spoke about, I think it was adaptive leadership, strategic leadership, transformational leadership, right? There's all kinds of leadership, I guess. But what would be your, I think, closing thoughts on this before we end this for our viewers?
I think, like we discussed, right, there are many flaws in leadership and different signs that leadership failed to recognize, especially for the long term. But I think a company's biggest strength is when its leadership is able to recognize these changes and foresee these changes, number one, but also recognize them and then prepare their company, prepare their employees, prepare its people to adapt to that change, even though it might not seem profitable in the short term, to prepare them for long term, to survive in the long term.
Yeah, so prevention is better than cure.
Yes, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Joshwin, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sort of breaking down RadioShack. I honestly wish I was part of the generation that went to RadioShack, because I've heard so many good things about it.
Me too.
But leadership can fail us, and so I appreciate that lesson. I'm sure our readers, our viewers loved that dissection of information, and I'm hoping that we can take away from that we need to be transformational leaders. We need to adapt to change quickly. We need to be on top of our strategy. So truly thank you for your time, and I'm hoping that we get to dissect a few more later.
Thank you.